Storm Troll. Unlike the many varieties of trolls that prefer to blend in with their environments, a storm troll primed with galvanic energy and ready to attack is a blazing beacon of power. Intimidating well beyond its size, deadly lightning erupts from the array of natural conductors that runs along the length of its spine, playing along its sides before bolting from its mouth at anything that arouses the troll's ire. Beneath its pounding fists, mighty warjacks shudder and stall with disrupted cortexes. Storm trolls are thought to have originated in the punishing stormlands of the Bloodstone Desert, a freakish region filled with a constant electrical storm. The only beast capable of enduring this environment are those specifically adapted to it. Despite their ability to endure here, storm trolls have long felt compelled to roam west into other regions, especially in pursuit of food. They have settled in a number amid the peaks of the Wormwall Mountains, making use of their special abilities to drive away competing predators. They emerge amid raging lightning storms to howl at the sky and call down the thunder. Some brave Trollkin warlocks have dared those peaks to secure these creatures and enlist them in the defense of the Creels. And yes, a walking storm cloud would be a great description of a storm troll. And with their ability to stall out cortexes of warjacks, this is a great way to shut down robots as well. But it will basically shut down anybody. I don't know if you've ever been electrocuted or seen men get electrocuted, but once you get zapped by that, you're gonna take a bit to stand back up if you survive at all. Not only is this guy a walking storm cloud, he also has fists that do a pretty significant amount of damage to the regular unit. He may not do a crazy amount of damage to a heavily armed warjack, but him being able to clock it once, stall it out, and then have, say, a bigger dire troll come in and clean up the rest is a tactic I have seen many a time. But let's read over his Mark III to Mark IV changes and see what we got. And as always, let's start with his stat line. He is still a speed 5. He has been upgraded to a mat of 6. So his mat was originally 5, now it is 6. His rat is 6. Defense 12, arm 16, fury 3, and threshold of 9. He has the ability to trample. He has a resistance to electricity, which makes sense. And he has the headbutt power attack as well. And he has a dual attack because they're handing that out pretty regularly in Mark IV, which is pretty fantastic for a guy that has both melee and ranged weapons that are very useful in melee combat. His abilities, of course, include regeneration, so he can be forced to remove D3 damage points from himself once per his activation, which is pretty standard for trolls. And then he has a repulsor field. When this model is hit by a melee attack, after the attack is resolved, the attacking model is pushed 1 inch directly away, so he magnetically pushes people away, basically. And that is always useful, especially since he's not the heaviest armed dude, and if it's a close range warjack or warbeast running into him, or a unit, and being able to push him outside of the melee so he doesn't get hit again, very useful to have. His weapons include his lightning that he shoots out of his mouth. It does have the ability to shoot while he's in melee, and it is electrical damage, makes sense. And it has the special ability Lightning Generator. When a model is directly hit with a basic attack made by this weapon, lightning arcs from that model hit to the D3 consecutive additional models. The lightning arcs to the nearest model it has not already arced to within 3 inches of the last model it has arced to, ignoring this model. Each model the lightning arcs to suffers a power 10 electrical damage roll. Lightning arc damage rolls are not considered to have been caused by an attack, so anything that pops off from an attack doesn't come from an attack. Resolve lightning arc damage rolls simultaneously with the damage from the attack that caused the leap. So everything happens simultaneously, so something that kicks off if someone dies doesn't happen because everybody dies at the same time, and it's not considered to be from an attack, which saves you there. So it's basically hopping from one guy to the next guy pretty quickly. Now, that is basically the exact same he was in Mark III, so it's not really that different at all. But his claws have changed up, so his claws are a mat 6, range 1. Oh, going back to lightning, it is a range 10, so it's a range 10, power 12, so it's actually a pretty decent distance, so it makes him a pretty decent ranged guy as well. So and really good at taking out low armor models. But back to the claws. It is a Mat 6, range 1, pound 12. It has the open hand capability, so he can throw things as well. And then he has a critical disruption on his fists now. So on a critical hit, he disrupts a warjack so they can't be given focus. And yeah, basically they can't be given focus. Any focus they have on them is disrupted. And I believe they become stationary for 1 round, but I'm not entirely sure about that second part. I think that was probably, I'm thinking Mark 1, Mark 2, maybe. I don't know, I've been doing this a while. But that is different from his original claws, his original in Mark 3. It is a 12 melee attack that caused cortex damage. When a warjack is hit with this weapon, it suffers 1 damage point to its first available cortex system. So this guy, if you get him into a fight with a warjack, most warjacks only have 3 cortex boxes to begin with. So this guy just needs to make his 2 initial attacks because it's auto 1 damage point to the cortex, and then you can force him to have 1 more. And if the team that he's fighting does not have a mechanic on staff, you just close down the entire use of a warjack's cortex, basically making him not nearly as efficient on the field of battle, which is great. But I imagine for a not trying to break stuff, that would be a little too much for such a light, low-cost storm troll. But his animus includes lightning fists, and it looks like it's basically the same, but we're going to read over it in its entirety. Lightning fist is a cost 1, a self, so him or his warlock can use it. The spellcaster gains resistance to electricity, and its melee weapons gain electro leap. Lightning fist lasts for 1 round. When a model is directly hit with a basic attack made by a weapon with electro leap, you can have the lightning arc to the nearest model within 3 inches of the model hit, ignoring the attacking model. The model the lightning arcs to suffers an unboostable power 10 electrical damage roll, and then lightning arc rolls are not considered to have been caused by an attack, and they're all simultaneous. So this is basically a run-on with his normal lightning ability, but this one doesn't hit D3 of the nearest, or D3 models. This one just hits 1 model within 3 inches. So that's still good if you're have him charge into a unit of low armored guys. He can hit 1 and then the lightning arcs to the next one and clocks him, or if your warlock jumps in, he can do the same thing. So yeah, now that's a very useful ability as well. It makes his damage output kind of staggering for low armored models. So, and him being able to shoot one of those out 10 inches, and then him being able to jump is basically an extra melee attack out to the model within 3 inches is kind of great. But that is the Storm Troll. Very dangerous. Great if you're going up against somebody who uses a lot of electrical attacks because he's immune. Although if they use a lot of electrical attacks, they're probably also immune too, so it's kind of a null point. But yeah, there you go. Let's